All right, today we need to talk about something serious. A really stark warning from one of the world's absolute top experts on AI, Professor Stuart Russell. And what he's saying is, well, he thinks this race to build a superintelligence, it might just be the very last thing humanity ever does. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Just let that sink in for a second. That's not a line from some sci-fi blockbuster. Nope, that is a direct quote from Professor Russell, and he's talking about what he thinks the biggest tech companies in the world are doing right now to all of us without our permission. It's an absolutely shocking thing to say, so it's really important we understand exactly who this is coming from.
Okay, so to really get the weight of his warning, you have to know who we're talking about here. Professor Russell, well, he literally wrote the book on AI. I mean, the standard textbook that pretty much everyone in the field uses. You can bet the CEOs building these massive AI systems today, they learn the basics from his work. So this isn't some outsider just throwing stones. This is one of the founding fathers of the field, and he's deeply, deeply worried about where this is all going.
And you could tell this is personal for him. He's not just, concerned. He says he's appalled. Think about it. After a 50-year career, this guy should be retiring, right? Instead, he's pulling 100-hour weeks, trying to sound the alarm and steer us away from what he thinks is a straight-up catastrophe. So what is this fundamental risk that has him so worried? What's the core of the problem?
Okay, let's get to the heart of his argument. He uses this really simple but powerful analogy that he calls the gorilla problem.
So, think back a few million years. Our evolutionary line and the gorilla's line split. Fast forward to today. Why do gorillas still exist? Well, honestly, because we let them. We're the more intelligent species, so their entire existence is, well, it's at our mercy. We control their fate completely, and there's not a single thing they can do about it. Why? Because intelligence is power.
And that, right there, is the crucial point. Intelligence isn't just about, being good at chess or solving hard math problems. It's about the ability to manipulate the physical world to get what you want. It is, hands down, the ultimate source of power on planet Earth.
So, this leads to a really uncomfortable but unavoidable question. If we actually succeed, if we build something that's way more intelligent than us, what happens then? Don't we, by definition, just become the new gorillas in the equation? Aren't we basically handing over the keys to our own future?
So if the risk is that huge, that existential, why in the world are we sprinting towards it? Well, it all comes down to a race with stakes that are bigger than anything we have ever seen in human history. To really get a sense of scale here, let's think about the Manhattan Project. Building the atomic bomb, one of the biggest, most expensive scientific projects ever. In today's money, that whole thing cost around $20 billion. Okay, now hold that number in your head, because the amount of money projected to be spent on developing artificial general intelligence, that's AGI, AI with real human-like smarts, is $1 trillion. And that's not for the whole project, that's for next year alone. We're talking 50 times the scale of the project that gave us nuclear weapons. The financial pull, the greed, is just so massive, it's like a black hole sucking us forward no matter what the risks are. And here is where it gets absolutely nuts. The very people leading this charge, they're admitting, sometimes privately, how dangerous it is. You have figures like the CEO of the AI company Anthropic estimating the risk of human extinction from AGI could be as high as 25%. A 1 in 4 chance. That's not just playing Russian roulette. That's like playing it with a gun that only has 3 empty chambers. It's insane.
So what you have now are these two totally conflicting narratives. In one corner, you've got the most credible AI scientists on the planet, people like Geoffrey Hinton, basically screaming from the rooftops that this could be the end of the human race. And in the other corner, you've got the tech investors and lobbyists telling politicians, oh, don't worry about that doomer stuff, it's just fringe nonsense. All while, dangling these huge checks for massive investments.
But here's the thing. According to Professor Russell, this isn't a foregone conclusion. It's not like doomsday is inevitable. He says there is another way to do this, a different path to building AI that could let us get all the amazing benefits without, risking everything. You see, the old way of building AI, it's kind of like the King Midas story. Remember? He wished for a very specific goal. Everything he touches turns to gold. Well, he got exactly what he asked for, and it destroyed him. His food, his family, all gold. That's the risk with a superintelligence. If we give it the wrong objective, even slightly, we lose. But the new way, it flips that whole idea on its head.
Instead of a fixed goal, you tell the machine, your only job is to help humans. But, and this is the genius part, it doesn't know exactly what we want. That initial uncertainty is the secret sauce. It forces the machine to be cautious, to ask us questions, and crucially, to let us turn it off.
So it breaks down into these three basic principles. 1, the AI's only goal is to help humans. 2, the AI starts out totally unsure what that actually means. And 3, it learns what we want by watching what we do. You put those three things together and you get a completely different kind of machine. It's not a genie in a bottle, blindly granting a wish no matter the cost. It's more like a cautious, humble assistant that has to check in with you first. It's an AI that is, by its very design, deferential to us.
Okay, so if this safer path actually exists, what's stopping us from taking it? That brings us to the final and maybe most important part of all this, the choice that is right in front of us, right now. Because this isn't just about code anymore, it's a social and a political problem. Professor Russell is really blunt about this. He says, look, in a trillion-dollar gold rush, these companies are not going to slow down for safety on their own. The pressure to win, to be first, is just way too intense. He argues that the only way this gets done safely is if governments step in and force them to actually prove that their systems are safe before they're deployed.
And this is where you come in. This is where we all come in. Because the concerns that experts like Russell have, they're not some fringe idea. Turns out, most people agree with him. Poll after poll shows that something like 80% of the public is really not comfortable with the idea of superintelligent machines. We don't want this future that's being built for us.
So that's the path forward. According to Russell, there's only one thing powerful enough to counterbalance the insane amount of money and influence these tech companies have. And that's us, the collective voice of the public, making it loud and clear to our representatives what kind of future we actually want to live in.
Which really leaves us with this final thought. Right now, a handful of people, CEOs, investors, are making a choice that could affect every single human being on this planet. Not just now, but for all time to come. So the question is, should they be the ones to decide?